Hey, what's going on, everyone? Soul here, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I have been wanting to do this now, off and on for quite a while, and just never really had the motivation. And then it happened. Like I was like, okay, I really want to do this, but I thought it'd be a lot more fun to do it with friends and do it with some people we can laugh about it and whatnot. So what it's a tier maker. I'll actually leave the website in the description below if you guys would like to check it out, and it's all the waifus from Final Fantasy. And so we're gonna rank them. The tiers go all the way from F to SS, but we're only gonna do from ranks B, A, S, and SS. Partially for time, because if we have people in every single category, this is gonna take all night. And two, because we don't want our channels nuked by people that aren't happy with where we put people. So just in the interest of just saving grief, we'll just do B and up. But anyway, I have two friends with me. The first one is Riley. I have worked with him, collab with him a couple times. Really nice guy, does both, supposedly does global and JP content. Riley, if you want to say a few words.
Yeah, well, hello everyone, and I have to say it's about time I'm actually on Soul's channel since he's always on my channel, and this has been a long awaited video. I actually really enjoy making tiers lists like these just because it's always nice to have a video that entices interaction with people who watch, not just my content, but your content as well, Soul. And it's just really refreshing to get everyone's take on our opinions, even. And like you said, please don't tear our heads off if your favorites don't get up here. We all have different lists, so you never know. Just one of them might be up here, but like Soul said, this is just kind of our list here. Please feel free to leave your own in the comments below. I would love to read who you guys kind of rank up in your own waifu tier lists. I would love to see that. So yeah. But other than that, thanks for having me in this video. I appreciate it, Soul.
Yeah, absolutely, Riley. Yeah, this will be fun. And like Riley said, this is just purely for fun. This is just our opinions. Just because I don't have X character and S rank doesn't mean I think they're trash or anything like that. This is just my own personal opinion, and just something fun to do. So yeah, that's Riley. And the second person we have is the wonderful man that always supplies the slides for my stream recaps. Great guy and my server. He's an admin. Just generally nice guy to talk to. So Gallon, if you'd like to say a few words.
Oh, hey there. Yeah, I'm back just to do this. A waifu video. What a not shock at all, really. But yeah, I'm here to join them as well, because they asked me, hey, you want to rate your waifus? I'm like, yeah, sure. Is RNA only allowed? And they're like, no, you actually have to do effort. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, I actually did effort. No worries there. I actually did. It's fine. I got all my girls ready so we could all chat and discuss about them.
Okay, so we had two rules going into this that I told both Riley and Gallon. Number one is we're only doing B tier and up. This was for two reasons: to save some time, so we're not here all night, and two, because we don't want people getting very upset if a particular character didn't make it into whatever letter grade they think they belong in. Again, I would like to reiterate to people that this is just personal opinions, okay? Not gospel. We're just here to have a good time. We're here to meme and trash each other along the way. So, it's all good fun. But yeah, so B tier and up, and then we could only do 5 characters per letter grade. This was to avoid massive amounts of cluttering, again, saving time, and to kind of pick out the cream of the crop in a sense for us. So yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, if you guys are ready to rock and roll, I'll go ahead and I'll start off with my B tier, and we'll just kind of go clockwise.
All right, let's go.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so my B tier, what we'll do here, people, is we'll just talk about them briefly, why they're there, what they mean for us, and then as we go up the letter tiers, I'm sure we'll gradually talk more. But my B tier, I have 5 people, and I think this is the only tier that I have all 5 of my slots used. So in no particular order, these characters are all right around the same level for me. Right away, I have Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII. She was a character when I first originally played Final Fantasy VII. I actually didn't even know Yuffie was recruitable. I ran into her by complete accident, and I first didn't really know what to make of her. I had to reload a save to even find her. But throughout the game, she kind of is like this reoccurring where she'll kind of torment your party. She steals your party's materia. But throughout the game, she kind of turns around, and then by the end of it, she's a dependable ally, and I really liked that. I liked how she kept kind of reoccurring in the story with her mischievous ways. Next up is Lulu from Final Fantasy X. This pick is probably going to be my first controversial pick. Some people love Lulu. Some people have Lulu up in S or SS tier. I have her in B tier. I think she's fine. I think she's fine. I like how she's kind of like the stoic, kind of quiet, level-headed person in the group, aside from Kamari, of course, because Kamari is just like the definition of stoic and quiet. So I liked how Lulu was kind of like the mature one, because she's been on a pilgrimage before and it didn't end well, so she's trying to make sure that, who she views as family gets through to the end. So I can definitely appreciate her. I like her in that regard. But yeah, next up is Seiss from Final Fantasy Type 0. This one was tough because I really like Rem. Sync is on my list further up. And I like 7 as well, but I ended up going with Scythe because Scythe girl, I love that her weapon is Scythe, and she kind of falls into that tsundere kind of, mindset where, she's kind of standoffish a little bit, and that's just, I've always really enjoyed that kind of thing. So I really enjoy Scythe. Scythe is a cool character. I can't wait till she hits Operaomnia too. And then finally, people that don't like Type 0 will be free from the Type 0 curse until they introduce like a random side character. Next up, Riley, you're going to be thrilled about this one. Sarah Farron from 13. Well, 13 too, I guess is more. I know Riley's got her a lot higher on his list. I have her in B tier. To me, she is doomed to be the lesser sister. She's in 13, she's just literally plot device the character because she doesn't do anything except get frozen in ice. She does have some flashbacks with Snow, but Snow is such an unlikable douchebag stereotype. Anytime she was with him, I just rolling my eyes, not paying attention. I'm like, this is awful. 13-2, she kind of gets redeemed. She goes off on her own kind of quest, self-discovery, and trying to prove to Lightning that she can handle things. She's going to save Lightning instead of Lightning saving her. And I liked playing with her and kind of she grew. But yeah, she's okay, but she's not among my huge favorites. And then finally I have Eiko. Now some people probably saw Eiko and are immediately like, oh my god, what creep. But no, it's nothing. It's not in that sense. I lovingly call Eiko my Final Fantasy daughter. I think she's absolutely adorable. A lot of people I've talked to that have played 9 and love 9 don't like Eiko, and it really makes me sad because I think she's really adorable, and her story where she's been the only person living in her village just with Moogles, and she's only, I think, 9 years old. So she's young, she's a kid, and she's been living by herself. So yeah, she's going to be a little obnoxious, she's going to be a little bit clingy for attention. I get it, but I just want to give her head pats and just tell her it's going to be okay. I really like Eiko. But yeah, that's my B tier. Riley, if you'd like to step up and let us, the viewers, know what yours is.
Yeah, and with that being said, officers, he's right over there.
No. No. Head pats, damn it.
All right, so let's go ahead and do my B tier here, and I'm actually going to as well start out with Yuffie, and she actually was recently given her LD. What's the word I'm looking for? Promotion, thing. She's getting the new Advent Children outfit, so I'm so hyped for her to get all this love and attention. I should have been released when Rude first came out, but I get it. It was Rude's event. Now it's Yuffie's turn, so it's all good, all in fair. But I love Yuffie. I love her style. I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for this, but I fell in love with her more so in Kingdom Hearts than I did with her in Final Fantasy.
That's the KH word.
It's just, you know, when you're playing the Final Fantasy original, it's a little harder to personally connect with just text and words. And when Kingdom Hearts came out, she actually had dialogue, and that was like introduced basically to a whole new life version of Yuffie, and I just fell in love with her all over again. So that's kind of why I resonate with her a little bit more with the Kingdom Hearts franchise than I do with Final Fantasy VII. But next we have, in no particular order, of course, we have Aerith. Now, I'm sure Soul just rolled his eyes, but I have a reason why she is even on my list, because if it was up to me personally, she'd be like Z tier, but unfortunately the grades only go low as F. So she's in B simply because she is my sister's favorite Final Fantasy VII character, and every time I use Aerith, it always reminds me of my sister. She just recently moved really far away, so this is kind of a way to me to just think about her while she's, you know, away and being safe, hopefully. So yeah, that's why Aerith is on my list here. Next, we're gonna go ahead and pull in Terra. Now, I unfortunately never got around to playing Final Fantasy VI, but this game has a really good habit to make you enjoy characters that you normally wouldn't really know or thoroughly enjoy to begin with, and Terra is one of those characters for me. I absolutely love her in Opera Omnia. I love her character, I love her playstyle. I'm a simp for mages, so she's a mage, so absolutely she gets love from me just based on that alone. But yeah, I love Terra, and I love her outfits, and I love that little dynamic that they brought in with Mog and her. I thought that was really, really cute. So yeah, that's my third pick here, and my fourth is going to be Agrias. Now, Final Fantasy War of the Lions is the one that I originally played. I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but was she on like regular tactics or only on War of the Lions? I'm not sure on those two, but
I'm actually not sure myself because I didn't play the original.
Oh, okay. Well, War of the Lions is what I'm going to be talking about, and I thoroughly despise that game until Agrias becomes playable, because I love that character so much. She is so overpowered in that game. I love using her. She's immediately a Dark Knight in that game, and I just love using her. And I love the fact that she actually got her LD now in JP, so she's getting a lot of love and a lot of attention. Well deserved, by the way. She's a great character, and I love her. And rounding it off for my final B tier list is actually going to be Ash. And I like Ash because I saw this video where this guy was mentioning why he plays only the female characters in Final Fantasy X and not any of the men. And it goes to like a cute little skit of basically Ash has this really huge badonkadonk. And every time I look at Ash, I think of that video and I just laugh and giggle. So that's why I kind of have a little link here with Ash, because I thoroughly like, I like 10, and I think Ash honestly is the main character in that game. It's unfortunate that they think Vaughn is, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, that's gonna round off my my B tier here, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass the baton off to you, Gallon, and let's see what you got stored up in your B tier.
Okay, I could do that. Well, as everyone else has, it's no in particular order, but I'm about to be the odd one out with my starting off B tier is Sydney, female Sid from 15. I like her a lot because, well, other than the fan service she obviously is, I do like the little bit of mini dynamic that she has with Prompto, and how nervous Prompto gets around her, because I absolutely love Prompto to death, out of probably like the 1 in 2 people in the world that thinks Prompto's a good character. But yeah, it's just one of those characters I think is visually appealing, but not obviously SS and all that tier, but she's still nice to look at, and always just love seeing my boy Prompto flustered. And then after Sydney is Cissnei from Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. I absolutely love Crisis Core. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, even though the limit breaks are complete RNG. The rest of the combat is quite fun to me, especially whenever you get all the materials and all. But back to the matter at hand with Cissnei, I love the dynamic between her and Zack, and how they build up throughout the game. And well, hopefully she gets added in Opera Omnia soon, so we can see what she does there. But who knows? Maybe Zack's LD will be Lucky Stars, like the limit break she has with him. That'd be really
That'd be
nice.
Cool. That'd be really cool. Nice touch.
Yeah. And then after Cisne, I got Garnet. I recently played Final Fantasy IX like 2 years ago. I actually kind of played it after Beatrix's event because I was like, oh, it's coming out on Switch. I'll finally play it. And I absolutely adored it. And Garnet was one of my favorite characters in that game. Her character development from the beginning to the end was fantastic, and she's really adorable as well. Of course, Zidane won her over, and that was pretty nice to see at the end of that. But it's just really nice to see how strong she becomes after all the stuff her mom and the rest of her kingdom has done. And yeah, really nice character, and hopefully she gets loved too soon, because oh man, I've had some war stories with using her. And then after Garnet, I have Renoa. I really like her dog, Angelo, and I learned recently in the game that that Angelo is a girl. I thought Angelo was a guy for the longest time, and apparently is never mentioned in 8, or it might have been, but who knows really. I haven't played 8 in so long, since my copy of 8 was stolen when I was a kid, and I didn't really get that far because I was a dumb kid and I had no idea what I was doing, and with how the draw system works, you ain't gonna get that far in that game. It's a 7-year-old. You ain't gonna make it. You're on your own.
True story.
But how that all ended up was still in DFFOO. I really do enjoy the parallel the differences between her and Squall and their different personalities completely. Squall being the loner and her being the bubbly open personality and all that. And she tries to bring Squall out of his shell, basically, and be around him as much as possible, so he stops being a mopey dork that he is. And it's really nice to see. And again, still, cute dog. I really like how she shoots out Angelo from her arm and all that, and rides around on it now, too. And, yeah. And then for the last of B tier, but certainly not least, is Lightning. Now, although I know a lot of people in Soul server are surprised that I would say this to Soul himself, but all right, I'm just going to call everybody out. I'm 90% sure everyone is just fake simping for Lightning. I am so dead sure about this. There is no way everyone loves her that much. They're just trying to get on your good side, Soul.
Listen,
He's got a point, Soul. He's got a point
comment.
there.
No comment. I got no comment.
But I actually do enjoy what I've seen of her in the game, in DFFOO. I haven't played 13 yet. I'm wanting to, just to experience it and see how I truly feel about it. But other than that, she has a very appealing design from all the things I've seen of her from 13, 13.2, and Lightning Returns. And I do like her Sundre personality. It's just I don't know her truly enough to see if I truly love her or if I just one of those things. But right now I can just say she's honestly not that bad, but it's just I can't rate her any higher other than that. And this is where you want me to go to A tier now, right? Or do you want to, or who wants to take A tier from me? Or am I going?
Go ahead, Galen. Knock yourself out, man.
All right. Now to A tier. The first one in A tier is definitely placed there because I do love her that much, and everyone else in A tier is just kind of there in no particular order. But the top of A tier is Drace. I love Final Fantasy 12. Everyone knows that. I have been a huge simp for that game since I played it, and it's still my absolute favorite Final Fantasy game. And Drace is no exception because she is a very, very cool character that we sadly don't get to see much of, as always, when it comes to cool characters that I enjoy. They always sometimes just never get enough screen time. But maybe in OO, but there's some doubt because Gabranth has her mace weapons as his LD skin, so there's already some problems there. But knowing how Zack and Cloud work, and yeah, there is some chance, but we'll have to see later on. But for her character, she's more of like a loving Gabranth. If that's the best way to describe it, I suppose, is because she cares deeply about Lord Larsa and the Empire, and it's really cool to see how after what happens to her, she entrusts everything to Gabranth, and Gabranth does as best he can with her dreams and the Empire's dreams. But all in all, she's all right. I like her a lot, and I really do hope there's more to her soon enough in OO. All right. Next in A tier, this is where everything's not in any order at all, is Y'shtola. And as always, I gotta rep my cat girls because I love my cat girls. And xiiiRiley is no exception. Again, what I've seen in the game and played as her, she's a lot of fun to play, and she is absolutely just a beautiful woman whenever you see her in Final Fantasy 14 cutscenes. I haven't played 14, but I've seen plenty of the cutscenes from random YouTube video recommendations, and I'm just like, all right, yeah, I'll click this. And yeah, personally, I'm still waiting. I have a deal with Square Enix saying I can't play 14 until they add the Geomancer class and or Mayo Vieira, and Riley knows my disappointment and his disappointment that we'll never get Mayo Vieira, ever.
Yeah, it's an ongoing debate.
But hopefully we will, because that'll be definitely when I play, but I'm more looking at it whenever the Geomancer class is dropped. But other than that, she's just really sassy in the game a little bit, and from the cutscenes I've seen, also sassy, and I enjoy some sass. All right, and after xiiiRiley is Ultimecia. Now, Ultimecia is another character I've enjoyed playing since the original Dissidia and O12 and Opera Omnia too. She's always just been a fun character to use in every single one of the games that she's been featured in. Especially her ability to control time and mess around with it. And oh man, it's really nice to see how much they gave love to her for her burst, where it's the exact same as the original, as in the original Dissidia and O12, and how well that it works, and especially whenever the music cuts out, that's just fantastic touch. It's just really nice to see how much love she gets, because she's a really cool villain, and yeah, she's also very pretty as well. Then after Ultimecia is Tifa in A tier, and now this is where I know everybody's got to destroy me, because why isn't she SS? Why isn't she SS? Guys, you only look at her for her boobs. I'm just saying it right now. So I already know that's what 90% of you remember whenever you played the original PS1, like, boobs. And it's whenever I played the original Final Fantasy VII, she was pretty fun to use. And I didn't really get that far into 7. I have a relationship with that game that I'd rather that would be too long to explain. But she was still a fun unit to play with and everything. And her limit breaks were also fun to use. But yeah, like I said, she's just an A tier for me. She's still visually appealing, and her remake design, oh, that is fantastic taste. Especially the abs. What they have done, beautiful. Everyone said she got nerfed. I say she got buffed, quite literally.
Quite literally.
Yeah, for real. She's got legs for days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then rounding off A tier is Yuna. Now I'm being judged by Riley and Soul, I know, but hey, at least I have her on the list. A bunch of people would not have her at all. And I still actually quite enjoy Yuna. I thought she was a really good character in 10 when I played 10. I loved her character development from the beginning to the end of that game. And she was also a very pretty girl and everything throughout that time. It's too bad she always had that laugh track with her. But hey, everything happens. And still, Yuna is definitely... I'm quite excited what happened with her burst and how well it's animated and all that. And it's just really nice to see the love that she deserves is actually happening on JP, and soon enough, many months later, will happen on Global as well. But all right, who's next in line? Riley, Soul, who wants to go to their A tiers?
I can take this one, yeah. If you don't mind, Riley.
No, not at all.
Okay. So for me, A tier, this is going to be A tier and up. I think people are going to be in order now. So I'm going to start with basically the person that's the lowest on the A tier, and then move up to the person that's at the tippy top, almost S. So the girl I have at the bottom of A tier, and I don't mean bottom as in like bottom of A, but beneath the other three I have here. I have Tifa as well. I have Tifa in A tier just like Yalin. And my reasoning for Tifa being here is in the original 7, when I played it, Tifa really didn't have much of an impact on me whatsoever. Riley and I have talked about this before, but just no voice, just reading text, where it's just reading, dialogue after dialogue after dialogue, and especially with the age I was when I played 7, I just, it was just words on a screen. It was just, words just to get me to the next event, the next battle, whatever. So Tifa really didn't have that much of an impact on me. I played 7 then many years later, probably like 10, 15 years later, and I started kind of liking her. I like her fighting style. I like that she's a brawler, hand-to-hand combat. I don't think I have any other that type of kind of character on this list, so she's the only brawler I have. And then I played the remake, and I really, really like what they've done with her in the remake. I like how they have made a deliberate effort to take the attention away from her anatomy and have given her a very solid personality. They've given her a great backstory. They've really kind of tried to entrench her into this world. Like when you go into the slum her again with Cloud, and she takes to these apartments, and she has this relationship with the landlady there, and you know they're joking and busting each other's chops, and Tifa just very genuinely feels like she's a part of the world, and I really appreciated that. I love that. So I have very high hopes for her moving forward. Next up, I have Selphie from Final Fantasy VIII. Some people are probably shocked that Selphie is apparently above Rinoa, and for what it's worth, Rinoa would be my B grade if I could pick more than 5, but I couldn't, so Rinoa got pushed out. But I love Selphie. Now you can say whatever you want about her outfit. I'll let you have it. Take your shots. Her outfit is not great. And Galen, before you even say it, no, I like the hairstyle. You can fuck off, okay? The hairstyle's a-okay, my friend. Also, those bright green eyes. But I love her energy. Her booyaka it's her catchphrase is obnoxious, but that just fits in with her so well. And then in Opera Omnia, she's really fun. She's kind of like this hybrid support, healer, defensive kind of character where she can heal the party. She has 80% debuff immunity, which is kind of shitty, but her EX is a very unique effect for quite a long time. You know, it enhances everyone's recasts, and you can do some really fun meme comps with that. So Selphie's really fun in Opera Omnia. I liked her character in 8. She's an A tier for me. Next up, we have Sync from Type 0. I love Sync. She is like the definitive airhead, but stupid strong kind of character where the lights are on, but no one's home upstairs. But when she needs to, she can just destroy whatever she needs to. And it's kind of ironic that I have her here because in Type 0, playing with her is absolute hell. She's slow as hell. Majority of the enemies you fight in that game are quick or they move around a lot. And they really kind of accentuated this slow but kind of a nuke kind of playstyle. And so by the time that she winds up and you're actually able to try and hit someone, they've probably moved out of the way already. And it was just miserable. I didn't enjoy playing with her, but I really like her character. And yeah, in Opera Omnia, is adorable and hilarious, and her EX takes 10 years, but it's a great EX. So I love her. There's a lot more I could say about her, but in the interest of time, I'll just say that yeah, favorite Type 0 girl. And then this one it's almost S tier. She's so close, but I have her in A tier. It's Aranea, and the reason I have her in A and not higher is just because there's so much of her backstory we don't know. A lot of her, what makes Aranea her, is mysterious. We don't know a whole lot. The things I do know about her, where she's this mercenary, she goes around, she won't, like I think there's a battle in 15 where you're fighting her, I think it's the very first time you fight her, and then she just withdraws, she's like, oh, time's up. Like, I love that she's a mercenary, but she's very, very strict about only doing what she's paid to do. And I think that's an interesting dynamic because you usually don't see that type of mercenary too often in fiction. So I really like that. She's sexy. I love that she has this very unique fighting style. People call her the stripper, where she's kind of like doing the stripper dance on her lance, jumps in the air. But I love it. I think it's cool. I think it's very unique. And when they brought her into Global, she was just doing nutty. Now, I hate that she's stuck with the grill over her head. You can't remove the helmet in Opera Omnia unless you buy her winter costume, which, by the way, boys, that winter costume is just beautiful.
Facts.
Beautiful. For days.
He is speaking facts
yes,
right
he is.
Yes, sir. Yes. I love her winter costume. It's absolutely gorgeous. I just wish we had got that RNA DLC that the devs had talked about. If we had got that, I feel like RNA would be so much higher for many other people. But as she is, I have her an A, almost S, but not quite high enough to be S. And yeah, that's my A tier. So Riley, if you want to close out the A's?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm actually going to be going in order now as well, just like Soul did from A onward. So my 5th is actually going to be Y'shtola. That doesn't mean that she's the bottom of this list. It's just they're all kind of even for me. It's just I thoroughly enjoy Y'shtola due to 14. I love her aesthetic in that game. She's definitely the poster character for 14. Sorry, Alfie. But I love cat girls, and she's a cat girl. I love mages. She's a mage, so she's got all the bases covered for me. So I had to put her on this list. And her outfits are always good. She's always looking great. There's never a dull moment in what she is wearing. They always have her looking good in every outfit. She can wear literally like dirty rags and still look good to me, honestly. So it's that good. Next we have Ultimecia. Where do I begin with Ultimecia? She can literally...
These would love that.
She can literally turn me straight, guys. Like, that is how good Ultimecia is to me. I'm sure you're hearing that. You're like, well, why isn't she higher? Because I actually have a lot of characters that could do the same thing she does, but a way better. I just love her aesthetic. I love her powers. She's a mage. The fact that she is the sorceress of time. If you ever asked me what my power would be if I ever had one, it would be to control time. So I love that aesthetic for her. And just like Galen said, I love the fact that her burst is the homage to the original Duodecim. I love the fact that it stops time in the burst. I thought that was a very, very nice, well added to that burst effect. That was really good on the dev's part. So yeah, absolutely a level Ultimecia. Next is actually going to be Cloud of Darkness. I love Cloud of Darkness because I love the mystery behind Cloud of Darkness. Now, I know that she takes the form of a female character, but if you actually go to the lore of Cloud of Darkness, it's a being. It's not really a he or she. It's just she takes the form of a woman. So hence Cloud of Darkness. Now, in 14, she really got a disservice in 14 because she was just this blob with a face, and you couldn't really discern who the heck this character was that they were just trying to like put in 14. But they did her very, very well in the newest raid tier. She's in her full glory. So, you know, straight simps galore. She's definitely showing all the cleavage. She's wearing all these clothes that cover nothing. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but it does to me. Yes. That's why I said it.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, definitely love Cloud of Darkness. I love her aesthetic, and I love the mystery behind her. So next is actually going to be 7. I love a girl with a whip. So I'll let your imagination run wild on that one. I love her in Type 0. I have not played Type 0. I played a little bit of it back when it was on the PlayStation 4, when it was on sale. I did play a couple minutes of it. I honestly just couldn't really get into it because it starts off really slow to me personally. I thought it was like, you know, you basically have your team and you kind of go in and do these missions like it kind of was in Crisis Core, except it's just Zack. That's how I kind of thought Type 0 was, and maybe that was my own fault because I kind of had this expectation and it didn't really have anything to do with the game, so that was probably just on me. But when 7's in the game, I know she's not the best at what she does, but what she does do, she does it very well. And her LD does her very much justice in Opera Omnia. It's very well done, and I love her whips. It's just awesome, and I love that aesthetic to her. And she's basically Lightning, but Type 0 soul. I mean, it's literally the same face, hair. It's all the same.
Yeah, it's kind of eerie, isn't it? A little bit.
It is, yeah. And rounding it off for us is actually going to be Celeste. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering why the heck did I put Celeste over all these other ones? I love Celeste strictly the same way I fell in love with Terra because of Opera Omnia. In JP, when Arc 3 came out, there is a story chapter that emphasizes Final Fantasy VI with Terra and Celeste and Mog. And I absolutely fell in love with that story chapter. Now, I am the typical person, well, maybe not typical person, but I am the kind of person where I literally will, if I see text, it gets skipped or deleted. I'm trying to blow through the text as quick as possible. I don't care. Now, I know that's probably the most horrible thing you could do in a story-based game, but that's just me. That's just how I kind of do. Like, even in 14, for example, if you ask me anything about the story in 14, I couldn't tell you anything going on. Sorry. But Arc 3, when the Final Fantasy VI chapter came out, I thoroughly was trying to find translated text the best that I could to read and enthrall myself in the world of Final Fantasy VI. That's how gravitated I was to that story arc. It was so well done. Oh my gosh. And due to that one by its alone, I now actually try to find translated text to the story chapter onward because of this one. So hats off to the dev team to creating a world where every character is given their moment and every game franchise is shown within the story arc, and no one's really forgotten about it. And I really love that about Opera Omnia. No one is forgotten. It's just gonna take a little bit to except for tactics, unfortunately, but it just takes a little bit for them to kind of shine. And I love the story arc that they did for Final Fantasy VI. But that rounds off for my A tiers. Do you guys want me to start off with the S tier, or do you guys want to start that off yourself?
No, go ahead, Riley. I'm good.
All right, not a problem. So my S tier, okay. This is strictly in order. So I'm gonna start off with Charlotta. Now, I love Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. When I first played Crystal Chronicles back on the GameCube, it was probably the most annoying and frustrating game to ever play with your friends, because unless they had a Game Boy Advance and you had the stupid cord that came along, or not even came along, you had to buy that separately because, money, you couldn't play with anybody. So it was basically a solo game until you got those things. But once you got the ball rolling, it was a really fun game and I enjoyed it. And then when the other versions of Crystal Chronicles came out, you were introduced to Charlotta, and she's actually an NPC character in the game, and you wouldn't necessarily think that an NPC character would get the kind of following as, a main protagonist would, since the story is of course revolving around the main protagonist and not so much the NPCs. But she has a really good following in the Crystal Chronicle era, and I love. She's a kitty girl, she's a mage, so again, bases are covered, and I love her aesthetic. And the new remastered version of Crystal Chronicles gave an outfit glam where you can literally look and play as Charlotta, and of course I bought that immediately. Because I love the fact that you can literally play whoever you want in the new remastered version. It's a really good thing that they added there. So yeah, definitely number 5 on the S tier. And then right after her is going to be Fang. Now, I love Fang so much, and if she was given just an ounce of the attention and love that she deserves, she'd probably be a little higher on my list. But the fact that she is just kind of the backup Lightning, I want to say, and for the 13 franchise, she just kind of gets pushed to the side because the story for 13 is absolutely 100% revolving around Lightning. So you only get little tidbits of Fang and her storyline as the game progresses, but the tidbits you do get are absolutely amazing. The one bad thing that I have to say about Fang is that I don't like the setup that they did with Vanille. That character is absolute garbage. And that's probably my dishonorable mention to this S rank tier and above is Vanille. You can literally replace Vanille with a lamp and the story will not change at all.
But could you have lesbian relationship with a lamp?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. Just get those long pole lamps. There you go. But in 13.2, where all the characters kind of make their own return, Fang does the absolute coolest way of returning into the Dunes area, where she's just sitting on a chair relaxing with her trusty spear beside her, not giving a care in the world, as Lightning walks into the room, and all she says is one word: sup. And then you see her dialogue kind of go on forward from there, and that was just amazing to me. I love Fang so much, and maybe she is the candidate for the global exclusive LD. I hope that she is a candidate for that, because she definitely needs it for the game. Going on to my next one is actually going to be Tifa. Now, Tifa is definitely a character that has grown a lot in different ways. For example, we have the Tifa aspect of, you know, frontal cleavage, and then we have the Tifa now that is more well-rounded and respected, and I appreciate that's the route they decided to take, because I honestly think that's the route they should have taken to begin with. And in Final Fantasy VII Remake, I absolutely fell in love with her all over again, because again, you actually have the dialogue, the emotion. They were showing you everything that her range was just so much out of this world, and I love that about her. Final Fantasy VII Remake made me fall in love with Barrett as well, and the fact that they're able to make me love a character like Barrett is awesome. So kudos and tips off the hat to all the work that they did on the 7 Remake, because Tifa is definitely hands down the best character arc they've given for that remake game, so that's why she's on here in the S tier. And rounding it to the second spot is going to be Aranea. Now, my reasoning for Aranea is basically the same as what Soul said. If she was given more story, if she was given the DLC, she would probably be S+ to me, because I love her so much. But the fact that we have so many missing puzzle pieces for her is really a missed opportunity, because I can feel like they can really grow this character a lot. And it's unfortunate that we didn't really get that time with Aranea, but the time that we do get is absolutely amazing. I love her playstyle, I love her spears, everything about her aesthetic, I love it all. I did buy the snow outfit, she looks absolutely stunning in it. The heels, like, ugh, she can stomp on me all day long, to be honest, it's just great.
Same.
She can just stomp on me and I'd be happy. But rounding it off for the finalist list of the S tier, and this was a tough one for me. This was a tough one. I gotta be honest with you guys, it was tough. It's going to be Yuna. And I know I can be here all night debating with Soul about which version of Yuna is better.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the 10-2 version of Yuna that I'm putting on this list. And hear me out, okay? Hear me out, guys. When I played the story of 10, I played it backwards. And I know that's not the way to play it. Obviously, you play 10 and then 10-2, just like you would with 13. But I played 10-2 first. So the first, first impression that I was given of Yuna was the impression that I've gotten from 10-2. And I gravitated and resonated with that version of her so much. Like, who's a strong, independent, character that is the main protagonist of this game. And I fell in love with all 3 characters, but Yuna definitely has a great aesthetic to her. I love her dual color eyes. I thought that was a nice, cute little touch. And I know there's a reason behind that, but I'll talk about that. I'm sure Soul will get more in depth in that later, but I love her aesthetic in 10-2. Now, going to 10, because again, I played this backwards, I was thoroughly confused about her character. I was like, is this the same Yuna? Like, who is this character? And she's all about, oh, I'm just my friends and guardians, and the power of friendship will save the world. And it's like, really? Like, what happened to the independent character that they were building on in 10-2? And at the ending of 10-2, there's this amazing true ending to the game where Tidus returns, which I apologize, I'm spoiling this for anybody who didn't play 10-2. She is running towards Tidus, and Tidus is running towards her, and they're on the beach, and Waka and Lulu is there, and they're all hugging, and it's a wonderful ending. Then they start running towards the beach shore, and Tidus is kind of like pulling Yuna, and then Yuna runs faster than Tidus and starts pulling Tidus. And I just thought that was a really good touch to the end. The ending of 10-2 in her story, showing that she fell in love with this character. It was a great love story, but she made it on her own, and I just thought that was a beautiful touch to the ending of her story. But that is the ending to my S tier rank, and I guess I'll pass the baton off to you, Soul, and we can hear your thoughts on your S tier.
Sure. Okay. So my S tier, I actually only have 2 characters here. Once we start an S tier, but especially SS tier, it's holy ground. You know, it takes a lot to get into my S, but especially my SS tier. So I only have 2 people in my S, and these 2 are really, really close to each other in terms of how much I love them. But my first S character, I'm not even sure a whole lot of people even know who she is, because she's from a game that apparently not many people played, and the people that did play it, a lot of people didn't like. But my first person on the SS, or the regular S tier, is Ritz Malheur from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. This was the very first Final Fantasy I ever played. It was out on the Game Boy Advance, and I fell in love with it. I don't even know how many hours into that game. I absolutely loved it. And when I played the Game Boy Advance game, I was at a period in my life where I really, really resonated with Ritz. She, at the very start of the story, you learn later that she's dyed her hair color because her original hair color is white, and all the other kids made fun of her for it. And so, in an effort to kind of assert strength, prove herself, and get above all the teasing, she dyes her hair red. It's clear that she's pretty unhappy with her current situation. And so, in Tactics Advance, everyone gets sucked into a storybook, and then that's how the world of Ivalice then becomes a thing. For a long time, I actually thought Tactics Advance was the original Tactics, because I was very young. I didn't even know Tactics was a thing, so I thought that was just the OG game. Then I come to find out that no, Tactics Advance apparently is just the baby version of Tactics, and a lot of people don't approve of Tactics Advance because they dumbed the story down a lot. It's very, very, very loosely based on only some events in the regular Tactics. You could even really call it just kind of like a reboot. It's almost like an entirely different thing. And so a lot of people don't really like the game, but I love it. And Ritz, she, in the storybook world, she loves where she is. She's in a clan. She's in power. She can fight for what she wants through fighting, combat, and she's made friends. She has a wonderful partner named Shara. They're very, very close friends. And when your character, Marsh, goes up to her and he's like, hey, we need to get back. We need to find a way to get back. Ritz is like, what are you talking about? I don't want to go back. I have everything I could ever want here. Why would I ever want to go back? If I go back, I don't have any friends. If I go back, people make fun of me. Like, why would I want to go back? And I really, really resonated with that. I was in a bad spot in my life too, where I didn't feel like I belonged. I really didn't have a whole lot of friends. People made fun of me, for my looks. And so I was like, yeah, I love this girl. I totally get it. And then throughout the story, you actually clash with her a couple times, and every time you fight her, it's such a cool fight. Like, she is very, very strong, and you really have to kind of blitz her down to get her down. And by the end of the story, she comes to terms with things, and she learns to accept herself. You see her in a final cutscene. Well, not final. This is before the post game, but you see her in a cutscene where her hair is back to white, and she's like, you know what? I'm done pretending. I see the beauty in myself, and I'm going to just live my life. And I loved that as a kid. So I've been crushing on Ritz for almost 2 decades now. It's been quite a long time. But she always has a place close to my heart. I really love Ritz. And then the other character on my S tier is Beatrix from Final Fantasy IX. Now, Final Fantasy IX, I had a very late start to that game. I played that game for the very first time probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I'd always heard about 9 that Beatrix was a character and people really, really liked her. And I was very curious why. And the reason is that I come to the conclusion is that because they do her so much justice with her backstory. They build her up throughout the game as, the one-eyed general, this invincible, just kind of force of nature that she can win battles single-handedly, just by herself. Hundreds of foes, doesn't matter. She'll come out on top. And every time you fight her, she just completely just ganks you. She ganks your party. She lets you get a couple hits in, and then she'll stock break and everyone goes down 1 HP, and she just kind of flips her hair and she goes, really, is that all? Like, it's so cool. And then there's a very, very brief moment in 9 where you actually get to play as her, and having that power and seeing her being able to do all these like high level spells and skills, it was so cool. So I love Beatrix in her base game, and then in Opera Omnia, then they release her. And Galen, I know you're right there with me, man. She was nuts when she released in Opera Omnia.
Oh yeah.
She was like single-handedly destroying EX stages by herself. I mean, she was nuts. She's about to get her LD in the global side, which I'm absolutely going to get. I love that she has a bunch of auras, that she's like this, she's a paladin. She's like a defensive kind of hybrid tank magic user. And I really like that about her, and just being able to kind of cleanse, and just wipe enemies' debuffs. And she has a follow-up, and oh, it's so good. I really, really like Beatrix in her base game. I'm excited for an Opera Omnia, and yeah, I love her to death. So, Galen, if you'd like to wrap up the S tiers, we can move on.
I can do. I will gladly do that. And I'm going to start, as everyone else has, from the bottom to the top, where it's because this is in a basically set order as well from here on out for me. And bottom of S tier is basically I put there because of what she's done for me. Soul's heard about it, and it's just how it is. It's Rem from Type 0. Rem is an extremely fun unit in this game. Yes, all you do, as some people are, all you do is just swap turns. Well, she does a lot more than just that. She gives an insane amount of batteries and amazing healing, as well as the swapping turns, yes, but she is just so much fun to play. And I gotta say, at 0 out of 3, she was able to carry my what I thought was a dead challenge run, and she did that just completely at 0 out of 3, and that's what shocked me the most. And now she's obviously 3 out of 3 because she deserves it after doing all that carrying, where it was like she was carrying this backpack full of stuff on just a solo mountain trip. She's like, I got this, don't worry. But yeah, Rem is insane amount of fun to use, and quite happy with what happened there. And yeah, she's honestly just really fun to play in this game. I really do want to get into Type 0, but I've never gotten the chance to. My PC cannot run it, and I have a PC version because of my friend giving it to me a few years ago, and sadly I can't play it right now. If I could, I would. But after Rem is Lena from Final Fantasy V. I absolutely love Final Fantasy V and how you can make anyone any job, because that's just always fun. The job system is just one of the best systems ever made for RPG games. And Lena, I like how in this game she's a ranger healer class. I don't know, I can't remember if that was something that was in 5 completely off the top of my head. I haven't played 5 in a while. I should really get back and replay it. But Lena is a very amazing character in that game, and one in this game too. I just love that sweet personality she has, and really great auras she has as well, and how much she can do for the party, and just make insane eye-brave regen memes, like with Caius being able to regen like 100k or something like that, just with her auras. It's like, oh, okay, this is just how the game works, I suppose. But along with just how much her battery does and how much healing she can do, and in 5, she's just a really unique character with how she's the Princess of Tycoon and all. I can't really get into much detail because I can't really remember much, sadly enough, but still I enjoyed her character when I played her in 5, as well as the rest of the cast. But if I can get my memory top, she might even make herself to SS tier by then. But for right now, she's S, just mainly because what I remember in the game and what she does in OO. Then third place in S tier is Beatrix. Now, basically everything Soul covered is how I feel about her. But I'll just say I really did enjoy how much, as well, the same thing with Soul, like how much she just was this threatening force. And I just always remember when I first fought her, I'm like, okay, this can't be that bad, right? And I was doing some damage to her, and I'm like, all right, I might be able to do this. Then all of a sudden she just one shot, and I'm like, oh, okay, I thought I was doing good, okay. And then you just see as everyone else is on the ground, and out cold, Zidane just slowly gets up to look at her, and she just walks away like it was just another day in the job, like, this is nothing. Later, guys. And just as also Soul mentioned when she dropped on GL, as the GL first and everything, just how I was never able to beat a single EX stage until she came out, because all I had in the holy trifecta of early global with the beating EX stages was Lena. You need the trifecta was Saz, Lena, and Sephiroth. I didn't have Saz or Sephiroth. I just had Lena. So being able to have somebody like Beatrix come out of nowhere and just steamroll all the stage was just night and day difference. Because I was like, whoa, what happened? Because I just remember even trying a stage. It's like, well, I can't do it. All right, I tried. Sorry. All right. And then, but yeah, really can't wait to get her LD as well. I'm quite excited to go after it too. And hopefully I get it quite easily. Or maybe not. We'll see. The next in S tier in second place is Ashalia Banargan Dalmasca for Final Fantasy XII. And as everyone knows, I'm a huge FF12 simp, and now I get to explain why she's in this spot. I love Ash. Personally, I if there was more room and I could put more in SS tier, I can't, sadly. She'd be up there with the number 1 spot in S tier. But Ash is a really, really strong character in that game, and how she goes through all this drama and all that, and has great character development, even with Vaughn, who doesn't have a character. Unlike though in OO, he has a great character development, which I'm surprised about. I thought they would just keep that meme going, where he's like, he's just what you're supposed to be because he's a peasant like you are. And I'm like, oh, well, great. But no, in OO, he has great character development, and I get joked about that by Alfie all the time and a few other people. But it's all right. I still love Vaughn to death, and just as much as I love Ash. And sadly, on Global, she is a unit. She is playable, but she's been done dirty. But on JP, she's a lot better now, which I'm quite glad to see, because she deserves it. It's just still sad to see that her EX is just that trash. But hey, at least it's a single pocket paralyze every now and then, which is good. Her LD does help that a lot, though. But, all right, rounding up to the top spot of S tier is, to the surprise of many, especially, and I'm going to make one of our friends, Angel, cringe whenever I mention her name, is Nox Lunafreya from Final Fantasy 15. I just love her, mainly due to the fact of the childhood friend dynamic between her and Noctis. I've always been a huge fan of childhood friends. Like, that is one of my... That just makes my heart just start beating again whenever I read cute childhood friend stories. It always just makes me go, damn, that's some cute stuff. But yeah, too bad we couldn't get much out of her, because they just did 15 and how that development cycle was. But I know she could have had a way, way more character development if they gave her the chance. And what they have of her was enough to make me like her this much, because I do love how how her and Noctis communicate, and how I personally think they like, this is obviously just can't confirm nor deny at this point, is how they've been talking for years, but they couldn't obviously meet face to face all the time because they're from two rival nations. And if Noctis just randomly decided to go see her, he'd get his ass kicked on sight, out of just because he's like, oh, it's King, it's the Prince of Insomnia, get him. And same with her coming here, even though I think Regis would be like, hey, whoa, don't hurt her, she's the Oracle and all. But either way, I really do love Luna, and hopefully she comes in OO and actually gets some really good character development like everyone else has, and it'd be nice to see. And would you like me to go to SS, or who wants to take SS?
Well, so let me just talk about SS just for a moment. So SS, of course, is as I mentioned earlier, pretty much the holy ground, right? This is the cream of the crop. This, at least for me personally, SS just like I don't think I'll ever have another character enter the SS tier in Final Fantasy. I would be very surprised if that happened, just because how near and dear these characters are to me. So I'm sure that's kind of the same way with you guys, where these characters are just really kind of a head and shoulders a level above. And so yeah, we can definitely start talking about them. Leading off, I guess I'll go ahead and I'll start with the SS. And again, this is like holy ground. Probably never ever going to see another SS for me. And these three for me are, depending on the day, depending on what mood you catch me in, I might tell you a different answer. I love these three so much. I love these three to death. And I think the character I would put at the lowest, the SS most consistently is Yuna from Final Fantasy X. But I need you guys to understand that there's like a hair's difference between these three, and they switch constantly. I love Yuna from 10 beyond words. Riley explained earlier how he started with 10 too, and then moved to 10, and so it was very jarring to him how Yuna is a wildly different character. And I 100% completely agree with him at the jar, at how jarring it is and how strange it is, because it's kind of a shell shock, kind of a culture shock sort of thing. It's that different.
We can end the video right there with Soul agreeing with me, Galen.
No. Yeah, I think we should. No, I'm joking. No. I'm on Soul's side. Keep going.
Cease. But what I was going to say is, my first, aside from Tactics Advance, my first kind of main numbered game was 10. And so I fell in love with Yuna head over heels pretty much from the word go. The very first time you see her, she's coming out from the temple where she just got her first Aeon, which are summons for people that don't know the 10 lore. So Aeons are just another word. Yuna has just earned her first one through intense prayer, and she's like on the verge of collapse, but she's like, I've done it. I've summoned her. Yuna is the daughter of High Summoner Braska, and Braska is the summoner that had ushered in the prior Calm. The Calm is a period of 10 years where this monstrous entity known as Sin goes away. Sin normally just goes wherever he wants, just comes and goes as he pleases, destroys everything, and he's seemingly immortal. And so the only way to make him go away is you have to take a pilgrimage all the way to Xanarkand, which is pretty much the other side of the damn continent. You gotta hit a bunch of temples along the way, get all the Aeons together, and then the summoner then sacrifices their life to then stop Sin for 10 years. And so Yuna is the daughter of Braska, and so right out the gate, she has the weight of the world on her shoulders. Feels like she has to do everything, like it's her responsibility to save everyone. And so she places a great deal of trust and on the value of friendship and healing in a sense. She's very much how can I heal these people? What can I do to help? And while Riley doesn't like that, I actually greatly appreciate it because of the world that Spira is. Spira is a world wrecked by destruction constantly. People are always dying. Things are always getting destroyed, and life is very, very fragile, I guess is a good word for it. And so Yuna really kind of takes it upon herself to make people forget about that fragility. And normally characters like this I don't really like. I always prefer the stronger, kind of self-assertive character, female character. But Yuna really just hits me in a way it's hard to explain. I love her, and she has such great character development. By the end of 10, she has gone from very naive, very devout, following the teachings almost to the letter, to now she has this quiet calm to her, this demeanor. She just has like an iron will, and I absolutely love that. And it feels like a very, very genuine transition. Now, moving from 10 Yuna to 10-2 Yuna, I could trash on 10. If 10 Yuna is SS, 10-2 Yuna for me is Z tier. I cannot stand 10-2 Yuna. I think it's the most disingenuous character transformation I've ever seen in fiction. I can't stand 10-2 Yuna. I think going from how she is in 10 to all of a sudden, a year later, because 10-2 I believe is a year after, to gun-toting, stealing, sassy Charlie's Angels shit. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I've never bought it, and I hate it. If it had been totally different characters set in the same universe as Spira, the same universe as 10, okay, cool, whatever. That's fine. But it being Yuna didn't work out for me. Moving on, because again, I could just go and go. Is Yuna's cousin Riku, then, and the biggest lasting memory I have of Riku is the very beginning of the game of 10, after Tidus winds up in this destroyed, flooded temple. You fight a boss, and you're losing. You are getting your ass kicked, and then all of a sudden the wall breaks down, explodes. You see a character walk through the smoke, hand on her hip, and then walks over to Tidus, kind of motion him like, all right, let's get this done. And then she helps you beat the boss, and she's throwing grenades, and it's so cool. And then later on, of course, you find her again, and you find out that her and Yuna are related, and Riku is doing damn near everything she could to save Yuna, including preventing her from completing her pilgrimage because she doesn't want Yuna to go. She doesn't want Yuna to die. The pilgrimage, in and of itself, is a waste of, because there is no eternal calm. It's just a period of 10 years, and that's it. And I love Riku. I love her playstyle. I love Mix, her limit breaks. I love the dynamic in Yuna. I love Riku's eyes. Her eyes, both Yuna and Riku, their eyes are just top tier. It's beautiful. And I love that Riku is kind of part of this culture and this people that have been shunned by Sphera, and yet she refuses to let that kind of define her. So there's just a lot about her character I absolutely love, but her and Yuna are so close in terms of my love for him. And then, to the surprise of absolutely no one, the last person on my list here is Lightning. She is basically the quintessential thing that I look for in characters now in fiction. I feel like Yuna and Riku are very much a reflection of my past self, where I really loved them when I was younger, and now that I'm older and more mature and I've been through the ups and downs of the 2020, among other years, Lightning is kind of more my type. Lightning is no nonsense, no bullshit, and some people love her for that, and some people absolutely despise her because they think that she's monotone, that there's not a whole lot there to like. And that's actually the thing I like the most about her, is that she's not going to take shit. She can't stand anyone in 13 for a very long time, especially Hope. Hope is like her bitch. She just kicks and slaps and just knocks that poor kid down.
It's kind of sad.
It would be sad if I liked Hope, but I don't, so it's all good. She can curb stomp him into the floor, and I'll be cool with it. But I love that she and Sarah have such a close bond. I'm not a huge fan of Sarah, as I mentioned earlier, but I love the dynamic that and Lightning have. How Lightning is quite literally, willing to overturn fate and the gods themselves to save her. And I love that. I love that Lightning just won't be stopped no matter what. I love that strength. Strength is kind of something I gravitate towards. Like my wife, for example, is a very, very strong woman. So I definitely appreciate that quality about Lightning. And yeah, she most days is the top of my SS tier. But again, these three are so fluid. It's hard to pick. But I could go on and on, but I'm going to stop here. I'm going to pass the buck to you, Riley, if you would like to talk about your SS tier.
Yeah, okay, so my SS tier is definitely a tier that changes depending on my mood, though the essence of all of them are always remaining the same. So I guess I don't want to say the bottom of the SS list, but starting off the SS list is going to be Lise from Final Fantasy XIV. And the one thing that sold me on this character is not just her story, but the outfits that she's given. Oh my god, like her outfit in Stormblood, if you guys haven't checked it out, just look at the image of her outfit in Stormblood. It is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And when the trailer for that game expansion came out, she was on the trailer, but nobody knew who this character was. Like every outlet was blowing up, Reddit was blowing up, the forums were blowing up, asking like who this female character is fighting with the main protagonist, and it ended up being Ida. Is the same character as Lise. It's just it was her playing her sister for strength and not realizing that she had this strength all along, and I love that about her character arc. So yeah, definitely going to be Lise on this list. And my next one is actually going to be a character that Soul you mentioned earlier, but you mentioned this character as her friend, and it is going to be Shara from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
Good pick.
I absolutely love Shara. I love Ritz too, don't get me wrong, but Shara is literally like the embodiment of how I treat my friends. So for example, like I'm Shara and Soul and Gallon would be like Ritz to me. I hold my friends to so high, and I feel like I'll follow them to literally anything. Like I'll take a bullet for them. I'll go to be above and beyond for all of my friends, and it took me a long time to really get to that point where I had such a close relationship with friends. Because in the beginning, uh, a lot of things in my earlier life, I really didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't really have someone to always kind of turn to. And then as I got older and realized that I really didn't have any friends, it was a little hard for me to accept that and really hard for me to come out of my shell. So when I was playing the game and I resonated with Char so much, she literally follows Ritz until the end and above and beyond in the game. Like she doesn't want Ritz to go either. She kind of has like this. You think when you're watching and reading the game that maybe they have a more dynamic than friends, but really it's just she doesn't want to lose her best friend. Like she made such a great relationship with Ritz, and it's like she understands Ritz is from a different world and doesn't want her to leave just as much as Ritz doesn't want to leave, and I love that about both of those characters. But the next spot, because I only have 3 for my SS tier, but the final spot is going to be a tie, because no one will ever get me to say who I love more. It will always be the answer of both of them, even though I secretly do love more one than the other, but again, you'll never know. But the tie will be Sarah and Lightning for my final spot here. Now, I love Sarah and I love Lightning, absolutely. I love the dynamic of Sarah is this, girl trying to show and prove herself to Lightning, letting her know that she is strong, she is capable, and she is willing to do these things. And Lightning is more of like this level-headed, strong, saying, no, you don't have to do these things, I will do them for you. And really trying to take all the burden on herself. And as you play 13, you kind of see that really take a toll on her, and she, like Soul says, just beats Hope into a bloody pulp, really. This poor child is just abused all the way throughout the game, at least in the beginning portion.
It's true. It's totally true.
And then you kind of see Lightning then kind of dial it down a little bit, probably because she maybe felt she was just tossing him around maybe too much. But I love the fact that, you see this strong level-headed character, because that's honestly me, how I am now in a nutshell. I'm very blunt, I'm very honest, and I'm very open to not just me as a person in real life, but also with everything that I do and everything that I apply myself to. And I love the fact that Lightning is that character for me. And I know some people say, oh, she's just a female Cloud, or oh, she's, just kind of like no, she really is her own character. And I love the fact that the franchise was able to expand on her story with 2 additional games. I thought that was very, very well liked and well deserved for me personally. And I love Lightning Returns, and I love 13 too. And I'm glad that both of these girls were able to be given a completed story arc, and I think that was needed for the both of them. But that rounds off my SS tier, because again, I can speak about these girls all day long. But I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton now to you, Gallon, and let's go ahead and see who you got to wrap this up with.
Well, that's easy for me. Unlike you guys, I had 5. 2 of them are just there because I really do love them a lot, and they are SS tier to me. But the last 3, like how you guys have those 3, 2 of them are definitely not the number 1, but everyone already knows my true number 1 waifu when it comes to this game series and everything. But so we'll start at the bottom with 5th place being Ferris. And you're going to see a pattern of how I have the top 5 girls that I like the most. Ferris is a pirate that just has this take no crap attitude, and she just really, really does not let anyone tell her how to do things. She does it her way, and you're going to either do it her way or you're going to have to work around her way. And that was just an enjoyable thing whenever I played 5, just how much of a badass she was. And best part is you didn't even realize she was a guy and not a guy, a girl, until Galoof and Bartz went in to help her change her clothes, and you're like, oh, what that's a girl. and no one, and it was just absolutely a really funny scene whenever that happened because they were both blushing like mad, and then Lena's like, why are you guys blushing? What happened? Is he hot or something? But other than that, again, job classes in 5, you can play her any way you want, but in she just has amazing debuffs and a dispel, and she has helped me out through a lot of stuff whenever I need a dispeller, because she's always had that amazing dispel. And I can't wait to have her call, because whenever you get her call, it's a pocket dispel and debuffs at any time whenever you need it. And yeah, she is a little on the slow side though, but her EX really does help out quite a bit. Especially whenever any of the enemies attacks, you just get that nice little shaving plus a battery to the party. It's all in all, she's just always been a fun character to use, and I just enjoyed her character in 5 as well. One of my the absolute favorite waifu there.
Oh, and then don't forget before you move on, don't forget she's the Abyss Queen too.
Yeah, that's right. She was my Abyss Queen because I didn't have any other blue daggers anywhere, and it's like I didn't have Zidane 3 out of 3, so I'm like, oh great, here we go. And yeah, she's helped me out through a lot of the Abyss because they just really, really want to have that stupid blue dagger requirement.
They have a fetish with dagger. They do, not the character. I'm talking the weapon. It's
just that. Just absolutely just use that all the time for no reason.
Yep.
Black crystal, blue crystal dagger, and it's like there are no black crystal users. Not black crystal dagger users, and there's literally just a few blue daggers, and it's like, really, why are you doing this?
Yep.
But all right, number 4 is Gentiana. I love her mainly because of how much actually she just has fun with the main cast of 15, Prompto, Ignis, Noctis, and Gladio. While you're just out and about adventuring, you go back to your camp or hotel or whatever. You go look at your pictures for the day, then all of a sudden you just hear Prompto, Gladio, or one of the others just go, "Hey, is that Gentiana?" And then all of a sudden you're just randomly looking through your photos, and you just see her randomly just sitting there or standing in random spot, basically photobombing you as much as whenever she feels like it. And I still remember whenever that first happened, I just saw the trophy pop up, and it's basically just saying photobombed. I thought that was a really cool thing. Because I know it's always random for people, but when my playthrough, she appeared quite a bit, and I just loved how she would just do these random poses and a bunch of other things. I've had just how much fun she basically had teasing Noctis and everybody else. And this all just leads to the fact that I like her because she's just so mysterious. You end up figuring out who she really is and all that at the very end of the game. But it's just always fun. Before that, you're just wondering, like, how does this person just come out of nowhere? It doesn't make sense. You're just freaking out, and you're just like, wow, that's really just what? You've never had somebody do this in a game before, which I never had anybody just randomly come out of nowhere and just
chilling.
Yeah.
You can say it's chilling.
Yeah, she's really chilling hot, but don't worry.
I got a giggle out of you. I'm happy.
Don't worry.
I'm just sitting here like that was what was the joke?
Yeah.
Oh.
But
chills me to the bone. But yeah, go ahead.
But like I said, Gentiana is just one of those characters, just how she had this air of mystery around her, and you could never figure it out until the very end. And it was just quite enjoyable how she just messed with everybody in the cast, and I like that about her. And then here we go, the top 3, the main creme de la creme, where I will always defend these to the day I die, is number 3, Pain from Final Fantasy X. She was literally my very first video game crush, basically. Because whenever I realized that I could have feelings for girls and all that when I was young, because I didn't at first, I was like, ew, cooties. But with her, it was like, wow, she's really pretty, and she doesn't, and as like Ferris, she doesn't take anyone's shit, and she just does things her way, and she'll definitely listen to Yuna and Riku, obviously, because she cares deeply about those two. But as everyone jokes about her, she is basically female Orin. Yeah, I get that joke. Don't worry. But like I said, she's just no nonsense attitude, and she just kicks ass and takes names. And I just remember seeing that, and I was just like, huh, I like this. And that, I'm pretty sure, is the start of my might as well call it an addiction to women that can kick my ass, and she's definitely one that would kick my ass, and I would thank her for it. Anytime, anywhere. Number 2 is Fran from Final Fantasy 12. I love Fran so much because of the whole how they built her up in 12 is this mysterious Viera, and how she was able to speak to the wood and all that, and you just like, what is this? I want to learn more. And she does explain a little bit, but she obviously can't speak to the wood anymore, because whenever a Viera leaves the wood, they can no longer hear it as much as good as the Viera that stay in the wood. And she is just a very unique character, and her dynamic with Balthier is one of my favorites in the game, as everyone jokes about is Han Solo and Chewbacca, and she's just sexy Chewbacca. And it's, yeah, sure, okay, I'll get that. I'll let you have that joke too as well. I understand it. And it's just, oh man, just how much fun she is to use in Zodiac, how you can make her anything you want as well. She's just a very cool character. Her design is beautiful, obviously, because it's obvious heavy fan service, but other than that, she's just really her. I love her missed techniques, her limit breaks, basically. That's what they're called in 12, is missed techniques and all. And just everything that she represents, and how just great of a character she was in 12. And then, number 1, to the surprise of no one, is Aerith. I'm joking. It's not Aerith. Aerith is not SS. No. It's not Aerith. I would never put Aerith in SS tier, ever.
I'd edit you out if you said that.
But no, it is Aranea Highwind from Final Fantasy 15. Everyone knows how much of a simp I am for her, and I will gladly admit I am. Every day of the week, everyone's like, so how much do you love Aranea? This much. And she's just, everything about her character in 15 was just great, especially just how much of a badass she was, and how, again, just like how Payne and Ferris didn't take shit from anybody. She definitely took shit from no one. Even her employers she didn't take shit from. She just gave no fuck. She was just there for the fun of it, basically, and the money. And I love that. It was just so cool. And as they all said, with how we all do wish that we could have gotten that RNA DLC. But hey, it is what it is. But her episode Prompto winter costume, fantastic. It's just eye candy galore, especially in the Prompto DLC itself, where you get to see her in action, kicking ass with it. It's just, it's so great. And one of my favorite things still is you're not even prompted to do it in 15, is whenever you warp strike to her in midair, you'll actually have a little mini air duel as Noctis and her, and she basically kicks Noctis around. Like, Noctis is trying his best. He's like, I actually can't keep up. And then she's just like, the skies are mine, kid. Kicks him back down. And it was just such a really cool scene. And obviously, as much as I have to obviously say it, she's got that body type I love on a woman, just abs for days, muscles, all that galore. She might not look it, but it's definitely there if she's wearing all that armor. Like, you can't see it because it's obviously covered up. But she will definitely. She can step on me, and I will pay her. Like, she doesn't even have to do it. Like, she does it for free. I'm giving her all my money out of nowhere. But that really ends up my list right there. Any closing thoughts here?
Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it. We all covered our lists, had some surprises along the way, and I thought it was interesting how we all had some similar characters. Like Tifa dominated A tier, and then S. We all had Aranea, and then of course Lightning made it to everyone's list as well, along with Yuna. So, but yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for doing this. Again, this was a project that I had been wanting to do for a while, and just never really had the time and the motivation to do, because I thought just by myself this wouldn't be that much fun. So Riley and Galen, both of you, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun, and yeah, if either of you would like to offer some words here for people that are interested in your content or whatever, then please feel free to take the floor.
Well, thank you so much for having me and Galen. I definitely appreciate it, and just wanted to say Happy New Year, everyone. I hope the new year brings nothing but glorious excitement and hope for everyone. Yeah, it can't get any worse, so there's that. Just hold on to hope, and I hope everyone has an amazing new year, and I hope that the game, the Opera Omnia, gives us a lot of good things in the coming year. So yeah.
Definitely.
I'll have to agree with Riley on everything that he said there. I also feel that way, and Happy New Year to everyone as well. And I can't wait to see what our GL first is and what surprises we have in store on JP and everything, even though I don't play it anymore. But I got my one shout out to do, and shout outs to all my Tsukihime and Fate fans. Tsukihime Remake 2021, baby.
There you go. You guys heard it here first-ish. Tsukihime remake is a go. But yeah, like everyone else said, Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you all for watching. If you made it to this point, then DM Riley the code word blue feet, and he will give you $5 in Google Play gift card. He's a very, very nice man. So if he doesn't respond, then he's probably just busy. But yeah, I think that's about it. So you guys have a great night, and we'll catch you guys later. See you later.